Hello and welcome back to another episode of Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host and voice of Fighting Tiger football, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me, following his big win at Pikeville, head coach Jake Russell. Coach Russell, you have to admit it felt a little poetic. You go down there and score in the final 14 seconds and spoil their season opener after just a season ago they spoiled your season opener with 14 seconds left.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy how many similarities there were between last year's game and last Thursday night. Obviously, the tough 1-point defeat last year, and then you get this, high emotion win, and like you said, in the last seconds this year. And, it's kind of crazy how just 1 point, one way or the other, can just make a totally different feel to start your season. And as we talked about last week, that was just a huge win for us to get this season started. All of our goals that we've got, just to keep those in reality, and just really setting us up for a great run to start the year here.
We'll take a look at some of the highlights of that game and some of the big players in that one. The Tigers went on the road and played the receiving votes Pikeville Bears, won 34-33. Jagger Gillis threw for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Trey Bass had himself an excellent day. We'll get to him in just a second. And Andre Seiler, 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Trey Bass rushed for 237 yards, also had 61 yards receiving. He had 2 touchdowns, close to 300 net yards for Trey Bass. And that was one of the things this first game that you really wanted to prove. It was get the run established, which is something that we didn't see a lot of last year, and they put it on full display this game.
Yeah, I was telling the quarterbacks even right after the game, just, you guys have had a huge impact on this game, and the receivers in our passing game. When you're the #1 passing offense in the nation last year, teams are obviously going to try to, take that aspect of your offense away. That's what UPike chose to do. And the great thing for us this year is we're ready to run the ball really well. We're capable to run the ball really well. We want to run the ball really well. And it takes the pressure off us, to go and throw for, 350, 400 yards every game to score a bunch of points, man. It's just night and day. It's so exciting as a offensive coordinator and for our offensive staff to, not have a weakness or have something they can take away, and then it kind of forces our hand. And, obviously Trey's the guy that will have the great stats. He's won the Player of the Week's awards, and he deserves those. Trey's a guy that, basically lives in Campbellsville year-round, and the big reason for that is so he can train. He's here all summer. Both summers I've been here, he's been here all summer, showing up at 6 a.m., working out, sacrificing, and then go working jobs, then going and being a student, then showing up to practice. He's a guy that's on our leadership council. He's one of our captains. He deserves everything he's getting, but we got to start with the offensive line. They dominated that football game. They were moving the line of scrimmage. They played with a different edge than we've seen. And, you could just see everybody was feeding off that physicality and that energy, and it got contagious. And, those guys are going to be the big difference maker in the offense this year.
Yeah, in that first year, it seemed like Trey Bass was a north to south, heavy hitter runner. Last year, we saw him go more east to west. And one of the things I thought to be the key for him was to get back to that north to south, but it also started with the offensive line creating the holes, which they did a great job of. Now let's get to the passing game. Jagger Gillis started out a little rough. It almost looked like he wasn't comfortable back there in the pocket. And I love the move at just before the half. You got about a minute left, a ton of space to drive the ball, and you just kind of say, okay, let's get him into a rhythm, make those easy throws, and build that momentum for the second half.
Yeah, well, Jagger's so good that, we say, oh, man, I don't think Jagger quite played his normal game, maybe not his best game, and then you just put up the stats there, and he's 19 for 34, almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. The one interception was one that, just went through a guy's hand that almost never drops a pass. And, that's how good Jagger and our passing offense and our receivers and everybody is. And then kudos to him. He's a guy that just has a knack for making the play when it counts. He made those big throws in the last drive. We're not worried about Jagger. We're not worried about our passing offense. They've proven themselves. And that is really, now going to be a thing where what does the team choose to do? I would assume and think that now teams are going to have to show a little more respect to the run game. Well, now the play action game, the RPO game, the downfield passing game opens up a little bit. And I look for the passing game to bounce back and have a huge couple weeks here while we continue to run the ball. But also a great job a lot of people can't really see this from the stands or watching on TV, is that every run play we have has reads and checks and options, and Jagger did a great job of managing all that and putting us in great situations throughout the night as well.
On the defensive side of the ball, the Tigers got a lot of big stops. There were a lot of times that they were able to make the good stands. One that stood out in particular was when Siler fumbled the ball there towards the end of the game. He was very upset with himself, guy that doesn't do it too often. And the Tiger defense came out, forced a quick 3-and-out, and got the ball right back to your offense. But also in the midst of that, 400-plus passing yards given up. How hard was it to contain that type of offense?
Yeah, they're one of the best passing offenses in the nation. They're going to be all year. That quarterback's probably going to be an All-American. He's going to have awesome numbers. He's a guy that I think now 3 or 4 years as a starter there, and then add in all those weapons they've got around them, the offense that they run. Coach Phipps does a really good job with their offense and the passing attack. They are going to be and will be trouble for anybody they play in the passing game. I actually thought our defense did a great job. Like you mentioned, there was a period there, middle of third quarter to middle of fourth, where neither team could quite get over the edge. We couldn't go up 2 touchdowns, which is the goal in the second half, and our defense did a great job of just keeping them from getting the momentum as well. Even down to the last touchdown they scored, everything they got, they earned. It just seemed like a lot of the bounces and the ball going here and there kind of went their way. There was 2 or 3 interception opportunities we had, and a couple of those actually ended up getting caught by the other team, which was crazy. The interception we got towards the end of the game were just lined up a little bit offside. So we were really close defensively from playing a game where they're down in the teens, and it's probably a 10 or 17 point game. So full confidence in our defense. I think that, like I said, is probably one of the better, if not the best, passing offenses and offensive line in the pass pro. But one thing the defense did that, again, was a huge game changer was stop the run game. So when you're running the ball that well and then you're stopping the run as well as our defense did, you got a really good chance to win the game.
Take us just quickly through that final drive, the thoughts in your head. Everything had to go exactly to plan, and it did.
Yeah, everything had to go exactly to plan, even when they had the ball with the clock. They had a guy's helmet pop off, which saved about 25 seconds. Just a couple little things here and there. Obviously, we had 1 timeout left at that point, had used one, and then had a challenge that we didn't win. And, 38 seconds or whatever it was with 1 timeout. In college football, it's possible, right? The clock stops out of bounds, first downs. It's a situation that we practice in our practices, and that I think I said this before, but because our guys take it like a game in practice, and like when they lose the drill, it's like, man, offense and defense. That's why it was. And then, obviously the return, getting the penalty, but the biggest thing that we preach to our guys is somebody hits you out of bounds, somebody on our sideline could have very easily went and shoved that guy. Well, all of a sudden now you just gave those 15 yards back. And then obviously, like we talked about, we've got some unbelievably talented guys. Jagger making the throws, the O-line standing up in the pass pro when they're bringing everybody at the end of the game. Dre makes a great catch. Ashton makes an unbelievable catch to win the game. And, that's why we recruit and develop, and that's why we practice those scenarios all the time in practice. And, football is the craziest game because it really is 1 play, 1 second, 1 yard, all those things. And to see the team respond after having a 4th and 1, a guy slip and then get a 2-yard loss, the only negative play of the whole game, them go down and score and us still be able to win that football game, says a lot about the strides we're making, where last year, like you mentioned, we didn't quite get over that hump. And now this year we're showing that we have that capability and know how to win.
Well, Coach, we'll let you take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll sit down with Co-Special Teams Coordinator and Sideline Hype Man, Coach Matt Atwood, here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Welcome back to Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me now, the co-special teams coordinator, linebackers coach, and sideline hype man, Coach Matt Atwood. Coach Atwood, how are you doing today? You know, you got to feel really, really good about not only the linebacker play, the special teams play, really everything about that Pikeville game.
Yeah, I'm super proud of our guys, man. They really fought hard, and like the one thing that shows up on film is effort. Like, we played extremely hard. We're flying to the ball on defense. The guys really never lost their belief that we were going to win the game, even as things at the very end got definitely crazy. You know, our sideline was still hype and in the game and, you know, cheering on the offense when they needed to be. And, you know, we just have such a great group of guys that, you know, they make it really fun to watch them compete and come to work every day.
We were talking about how crazy it was down there. It was super competitive.
Yep.
A lot of guys going at each other. It was being played super hard. But I think, you know, just the maturity of the team to stay level-headed, keep the emotions under control, especially as that clock ticked down. And it just was, it all worked out perfectly, and they were able to maintain everything.
Yeah, you know, our guys did a really good job of controlling emotions, playing extremely hard between the whistles. We're very physical, and, you know, a lot of times when you're really being physical against an offense, you know, they want to do things and, you know, hold more and, you know, extra after the whistle and, you know, whatever else can go on in a football game. And I thought our guys did an extremely great job of handling those things, you know, between the whistle and just playing the way we ask them to play. And then, you know, not really getting involved in extracurriculars, you know, no penalties that would hurt us post snap and things like that. You know, if we get penalties, we want them to be, you know, we're being aggressive and they're in the field of play, right? We're a physical team, and you know we're going to get some flags sometimes because of that, I'm sure. But we want to keep those things, like we're not getting personal fouls and extra after, and you know things that hurt the team.
They go out, Pikeville does, to their running back in the passing game so often. How difficult was it, not only as a defensive plan, but for your linebackers as well to stay in there and hang with those guys?
So, to be honest, my older brother was actually asking about this after the game too. And honestly, we actually wanted that. We were actually like, hey, throw it to him as many times as you want. You know, we'll man him up at certain points in the game if we feel like we really have to, and we did at times, certain key situations. But we felt the game was better for us if they ran the ball more and if he checked down. You know, they have a very, very talented receiving core, and you know, just have the ability to create explosive plays and the tempo and winning on first down. You know, anytime they're able to win on first down, they can really crank that tempo. And we were really able to limit that by forcing the checkdowns, forcing the underneath throws, rallying and tackling. That's something we believe we're going to do well all season is run to the football and tackle. So we were more than happy to let them kind of have that as long as we could in the game. And then certain situations, you know, we wanted to take it away when we felt like it was key. But we were trying to keep everything in front of us as much as we could. You know, we definitely failed at that at times and allowed some explosive plays. But for the most part, that was part of the game plan was, hey, throw it to that guy as much as you can. Now, he was very quick. This was really the first time that, you know, he's been in the showcase like that. He's a very quick player, and he's going to be a problem for a lot of teams the rest of the year. Thankfully, he's in our rearview mirror, though.
it didn't feel like the Tigers dialed up as much pressure in this game as opposed to maybe games in the past getting into the backfield. Was that a little bit more the plan to try to contain Kirkland, or
Yeah, without giving away too much,
Yeah.
there were some things that they do. He only got sacked 10 times at all last year. 2 of them were us in the first game last year. They do some things that, make it difficult to pressure him and sack him. And he's a very elite decision maker.
Yes.
He's a very good quarterback. And he gets the ball out so quick. It created a little bit of a problem of, can you really get to him before he can make a decision and get rid of the ball. So, game plan wise, it definitely was some adjusting and things like that of kind of what we like to do, but keep a few things close to the chest there on that.
I don't blame you. I don't want to pull it all out of you.
Yeah.
But we'll go off of the field for a second. You are the leader of FCA, and we talk about how it's a little bit bigger than football, and FCA is growing. They're in the chapel now. Talk about that for a second.
Definitely. Mariah does a great job helping with that. My wife, she absolutely kills it. She's phenomenal. I got my FCA bracelet on here so you guys can see. It's definitely something that is always in the forefront of our minds. It's like, all right, well, this week is a crazy week. I'm going to do FCA till probably 9:30, and then we're going to be up early the next morning, and I'm going to be leaving. So it's like, I might have to end up packing like today, right? So, it's awesome though. We love it, and we love having those kids in our lives, and, seeing, people that come through our FCA and grow and become leaders like you. And, a big one for me is Savannah Ramos and Justin Ramos. Savannah is Campbellsville's FCA person at I think the elementary or middle school. And then obviously Justin works closely with us. He was someone that, I'm very fond of and very close to. And then John Tuning runs the FCA for Taylor County. People that came through our FCA out doing those things in their community. Braden Russell's another one. He's awesome. He kills it everywhere he goes. And there's so many names and people that we're extremely proud of. We're missing LTB Bailey Pettigo.
Yeah.
She was our FCA president. So it had like an 8-year span or something. Like you had Savannah Ramos and then Bailey Pettigo. And now a football player, Gabe Maurer, is the FCA president this year. So those things are going great, though. We're excited, ready to get going this week with FCA, Wednesday night, 8:30 in the chapel. Can't wait.
Football team specifically, I saw on social media, follow you guys on social media, and you see that it's still bigger than football a lot of the times, and it's about the character and building the man. And they all just got a donation of those beautiful leather-bound Bibles with all their names inscripted for every player.
Yeah, that's probably one of my all-time favorite things that, we've ever been able to give any of our players. Just seeing the joy on their faces and how they were running around in the locker room bragging about having a Bible with their name on it. That was so cool. And, man, I just say thank you to the alumni that made that happen. Like, you guys really knocked it out of the park. Like, that's better than anything else you could do for our program and our guys is that gift for those men and the coaches. There were coaches that were, like, that's the first time they've had their name on a Bible too. And, I remember my grandmother got me something like that when I was very young. So for me, I didn't understand how important that was going to be, that aspect of it to our team and our guys. But seeing that, man, it really kind of brought me to tears. Like, I was so touched by just how thrilled they are and, how thankful they were to have them. And then on the bus, I actually saw a couple guys with theirs on the way to the first game and in the locker room and stuff. So it's a gift that will stand the test of time. And, there's no way to measure what that will do for our young men in our program.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure to sit down with you. Hopefully I'll get out to the next FCA.
That's right. See you guys Saturday at 1:30.
When we come back, we'll sit down with head coach Jake Russell to talk about the upcoming matchup at Weber here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, but with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute pre-diabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Welcome back to the final segment of Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me again, head coach Jake Russell. Coach Russell, you go on the road and you face Weber this weekend. What are maybe the difficulties of this type of game? We talked about the flip, having to go now, and really your first 2 long road trips really of the season, honestly, and you have to go all the way down to Weber. What's it like getting the guys ready for a weird week like this?
Yeah, these first 2 weeks have been crazy. Playing on a Thursday night when the game was actually scheduled for a Saturday, getting down there, the game being delayed. I thought our guys just did a phenomenal job handling that adversity. We got back about 4:30, just makes the next few days seem really fast, and everything's kind of a blur. Excited to get back out to practice, 1, but 2, 48 hours from now, we'll be in Georgia or stopping to eat or stopping at a gas station or something. And yeah, it's definitely, it can be a tough thing. It can be a distracting thing to travel that far. All the different things that go into it with a party of 80 total people, on buses, at restaurants, in hotels. All those different things, and Coach Lewis crushes it. I mean, he's meticulous in going through every detail and having a plan for every little thing. And the biggest thing is, how can we get our guys Saturday at 1:30 to be there, healthy, focused, ready to go play a football game? Because there's never been on the schedule it says, well, they lost, asterisk, but they had to travel 13 hours. Yeah. But their bus broke down on the way. But some restaurant forgot they were coming and didn't have their food, so had to go somewhere. There's all these things that can happen on a road trip, that do happen on road trips for all college football teams across the nation at all levels, that we've got to do a great job of handling. I think you see some of the growth and the maturity of our program, of our young men, our staff now being in a second full year together, knowing what we need to do and handle the little small situations. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, it's really fun to travel. It's just all football all the time. You're in the hotels, you're eating, you're on the bus, watching movies, watching TV, hanging out. The guys have a great time. And I always love that aspect of it. But at 1:30 on Saturday, it's a football game. Doesn't matter how far you came, who you're playing, whatever it is, it's the same game. And that's where we really got to make sure that we set our guys up to do a great job with.
Well, hopefully Coach Lewis has you stopping at a Buc-ee's or 2 on the way down there. But I hear you have some experiences down at Weber. What's it like playing in Weber? And, of course, you have probably some crazier experiences than hopefully our players will have to face.
Yeah, I obviously coached there, so I know the area well. I had a great time there, great school, beautiful campus. It's right on a lake. They built the new turf field there the season I was there, right in the middle of campus. We played there my first year here. We traveled it a little different, tried a different strategy. There was a lightning delay in the game, which, in Florida, these isolated showers pop up really fast. And like I said, it can be a tough thing to do, to travel that far, wake up and play. It's obviously Central Florida. Looks like it's going to be hot, not crazy hot. Looks like there's possible chance for showers, as always in Florida. It's going to be humid. And so how do we get our guys to prepare for that? And something I've talked to the staff about, we'll talk to the team about today before practice, the one thing you can't account for when it comes to cramping and heat is the strain that a game puts on your body. So that's why we always challenge our guys, practice like it's a game. Not just when we're doing 11 on 11, but in the drills, in the warm-up, because everything in a game gets a little tenser. We can't have our guys going out and doing 70 plays every day like they do in a game. Some of them play every play. And so those are the little things that are going to make the difference in the game on Saturday.
You have one game of film, at least from this season on this team, and I was looking at the stats and had a hard time kind of picking up what it is that they do. What are you preparing for or expect to see from a team like Weber?
Yeah, they played Fort Lauderdale the first game, who's a new school, I think just in their second or third year. And, so we got a little bit off the film, just base of what they do. Their head coach was the defensive coordinator when I coached there. They've got a core group of guys that have been there on the defensive side. They do a great job with the defense. Their defense will be really solid, always has been. And then they've got a lot of skill on the offensive side. They've got some receivers. I think we've got the best receiving core in the nation, but they're going to be right up there close. Athletic, they don't recruit outside the state of Florida, don't need to. And Florida football and the culture of Florida football is different. It's one thing I learned coaching down there. Those guys live, breathe football from the time they're young. They love playing. They play extremely hard. They play extremely physical, and they're always going to be really athletic. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. I mean, this is not a game that you schedule because you say, oh, let's go down here and get us an easy win and come back. This is going to be a fight. This is a team that plays in one of the better conferences in NAIA football, a team that's going to win a lot of games this year, and again, a team that's going to be really well coached. So it's a great challenge. We're looking forward to it. And just to end is to say, this is a great opportunity for us that if we make it into the playoffs and make it into the second, third, semifinal round, you may have to travel a long way and go play a really good team in some kind of crazy weather, whether that be cold, snow, or extreme hot like we're probably going to get this week.
I'll tell you, with the receivers being as athletic as they are, and I saw them listed, most of them are listed above 6 foot, if not 6'5" or so. But you got guys back there, especially some impact transfers. Obi Wilson, Paul Maxwell, I thought had great games. And Noah Steen, I think, was looking at his stats. I guess it should be no surprise from last season, but he could really fly around that field.
Yeah, the veteran NAIA transfer guys that we specifically targeted were huge. They're able to go out in a game like last Thursday. They've all competed against UPike before. Hobie was on the other side of the field last year before. And, it's just second nature to them at this point. They give us a great presence. They give us great experience. Like you said, we're looking forward to getting a couple of our DBs back from injury. Another guy that's just getting eligible this week that transferred in for us. And we really think the secondary is the group that's going to improve the most and the fastest over the course of the year. Like you said, they got some length, some speed, size, and a passing game that can really be dangerous. So we're looking forward to the challenge. And also coupling that in, we think this is a game where our defensive line can really pressure the quarterback.
Well, best of luck to you this weekend. Can't wait to see you guys down there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The Tigers go on the road to Babson Park, Florida, as they take on Weber International University. That game set for 1:30. You can find it on 88.7 The Tiger, as well as on the TuneIn app. Myself and Khalil Baker will be down there on the call. And be sure to join again next week for Under Center with Jake Russell.